All right, so we're going to be multiplying decimals today. Now, unlike with addition and subtraction, when you're multiplying decimals, you do not need to line up the decimal points. Sometimes it happens automatically, but you don't have to worry about doing that. So we have here 2 and 6 tenths, and we're going to multiply times 0 and 4 tenths. Now, I'm going to tell you right now what I tell my students is if you see a 0 in the front, you can go ahead and just remove that 0 because it's not necessary. Anything in front of any zeros in front of a decimal point is not really needed for multiplication. So just get rid of it and save yourself some time. It's kind of like it's kind of the opposite of addition and subtraction where we added zeros to fill in the gaps. Whereas with multiplication, we want to get rid of the zeros and make things a lot easier for us. So now when we were doing addition and subtraction, I would tell you to just drop down the decimal point. However, this is not addition or subtraction, so you guys have to start shifting gears. We are not adding, we are not subtracting. So what you're going to have to do is you have to count something called decimal places. So decimal places are any of the numbers that are after that decimal point. So you see this decimal point right here? This 6 is a decimal place. It's in the tens. We call that a decimal place. This 4 is a decimal place. It's in the tens. So you see how I boxed up two numbers right there? That means that I have two decimal places. That number 2 is going to be important later when we finish this multiplication. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to multiply as normal. I think you guys learned how to multiply in 3rd grade, 4th grade maybe? 4th grade for sure. So you guys should remember how to do this. We have 4 times 6, which is 24. So I write the 2 up here. So it's 20, 24. And then 4 times 2 is 8. And then 8 plus 2 is 10. So I get 104. Now, here's where the two decimal places comes into play. We have two decimal places in the factors in the problem right here. We're going to need two decimal places in the product as well. So remember, decimal points start at the right for whole numbers, and I'm going to move it two numbers to the left. So one number and then 2. So the decimal point is going to end up right there. Another way to do it is to start from the right, and you can box up two numbers. So one number boxed up, one number boxed up, decimal point goes in front. So you notice there are two decimal places in the problem, two decimal places in the product or the answer. A little bit more complicated, right guys? All right, here we have another example. So even before I start writing the problem, I can count the decimal places. I see 1 right here, 2, and 3. So now I know my product is going to have 3 decimal places. It's going to be in the thousands. So let's go ahead and do the problem. 3 and 42 hundredths. I'm going to multiply times 1 and 4 tenths. Notice you do not need to line up the decimal points. See that? Big major difference. We do not fill in the gaps with 0 either. So let's start multiplying. I'll have 4 times 2, which is 8. 4 times 4, 16. Regroup 1. 6 down there. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. Now remember how we multiply? In my class, when we have double digit multiplication, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you cross off the number you finished. We finished the 4. And when you cross off this number, I would like for you to drop a 0 straight down there. This is going to be the biggest mistake that kids make in 6th grade. They forget to drop a 0 when they cross off this number right here. We're done with that 4. You can also scribble out this regrouping here too. Don't erase it because I want to see it. That's how you get credit for your work. So now we have 1. We're going to do 1 right here times 2, which is 2. And then 1 times 4, which is 4. And then 1 times 3, which is 3. And then finally, we're going to add these two. So we have 8, 8, 7, and 4. Now I'm going to go back to the very beginning of the problem, and I'm going to see I need 3 decimal places. So I had 3 decimal places in the problem. I better have 3 decimal places in my product down here. So I'm going to find, here's 1, 2, and 3. My decimal point's going to go there. You can also do it the old-fashioned way, where you start the decimal point at the end and you count 3 numbers over. So 1, 2, and 3. So your final product is 4 and 788 thousandths. All right, and the last kind of problem right here, we have 0 and 24 hundredths, or just 24 hundredths, and we're going to multiply times 13 hundredths. Remember, we want to erase these leading zeros right here. They just make the problem more complicated looking. And then we're going to count decimal places. So I see 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have a total of 4 decimal places. So my product is going to have 4 decimal places as well, which is going to be in the 10,000s. You probably won't see too many problems in the 10,000s, but just be prepared. So first, we're going to multiply the 3 times each of the digits. So 3 times 4 is 12. Regroup the 1, 2 down here. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. Now we're done with the 3. Let me scribble that out. We're done with this 1. Scribble that out. We're going to multiply. Oh, I forgot to drop the 0. Drop the 0. After you scribble this guy out, drop a 0 straight down. Like that. Now we have 1 times 4, which is 4. And then 1 times 2, which is 2. Finally, we're going to add. Start from the right. 2, 7, and 4 is 11. 1 and 2 is 3. Now, we had up here 4 decimal places. We need 4 decimal places in the product. You might go, wait, there's not enough numbers, Mr. Wynn. I see 1, I see 2, I see 3. Well, you guys probably remember that we can always add a 0 in the front right here to get an extra decimal place. That's a placeholder. So this right here will give us our 4th decimal right here. Okay. Now, if you're doing it the old-fashioned way, if you don't like doing the boxes, decimal point goes right there. We're going to move it over 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there. And then put a 0 in the front just to make it look nice. So your final answer is going to be 312 10,000ths, or 0.0312.